what a hell of a week last week was for not just the president. Let's look bigger picture, Tim. It was a heck of a week for all Americans, even Democrats who hate DJT and the MAGA movement. It was a good week for this country and for the world, wasn't it?
100%, Dan. I couldn't say any more about it. As I was saying earlier in our conversation before the show started, that the, Democrat members in the gym I was sort of listening to what they were saying about when the president dropped his F-bomb, and they couldn't have agreed with him more. In closed door meetings I've been in, I was just shocked that the Democrats applauded what was going on in the Middle East. But by our president's actions and our military's expertise. Now, they're not going to do that in public.
No, of course not. Can't. That goes against the rule book, Tim.
No.
If you got an E in front of your name, you have to trash Trump, even when he does amazing things. That's the rule book. Trash Trump.
Yeah, and my analysis of that, Dan, you say what you want, but I think that the far left that runs the Democrat Party in Washington, D.C., are sacrificing the moderates on that altar of wokeism.
Yep.
And they're just because they want to protect their little bitty base of far left that they know they need to reel in because they've lost everything else. They're losing Hispanic males, the black community, just go down the list. They're incredibly, they've been alienated and taken advantage of by this party, but the big, beautiful bill's rolling in and, it's going through the Senate. I predict it'll go there. I don't know what will happen in the House. There's still a lot of concerns about Medicaid, Medicare.
Right, and I heard some of the senators bring that up, so let me pose that to you because you've got a couple Republican senators like Tillis, who, by the way, announced he's not going to run for re-election. Great. I'd love to see him. Cornyn, a whole bunch of these old school rhino Republican senators that have been in 15, 25, 30 years. Bye-bye, get out. We don't need you anymore. I want term limits. Anywho, I heard them complaining that the way the bill sits now, it could possibly affect hundreds of thousands, maybe even a couple million Americans on Medicaid. And the president guaranteed us that does not do that in the House version, but senators say the House version does. Now, explain to viewers, Tim, how this works. They're mocking up and doing amendments to it. They'll do a final vote. Then they give it back to you guys. That's a different version than you all got. So do you have to then re-vote on their new version to send it back to the president finally for signature? Or what are we going to see unfold, say, over the next 72 hours?
Well, you could see a conference committee. I don't think you will. I think what we'll do is get down to brass tacks and hopefully agree on something that's in there and that the interpretation is that. You've got the parliamentarian in the Senate that seems to be throwing a monkey wrench. I still don't understand why we have that office there and who supplies it. And we're going to argue over the CBO score, Congressional Budget Office, which and then their health care department, 85% of those people have voted Democrat or have contributed to Democrat campaigns. So another thing, we're in leadership. We ought to start acting like it. We ought to start canning some of these people's ass and get rid of these departments that are bloated. And a lot of them are Cold War relics anyway, kind of like the United Nations. But that's another topic. But on the Medicaid, Medicare, there's a reauthorization, and the original version had it at every month you'd have to reauthorize. And so they've done it to twice a year. So that's a problem. You got poor people, honestly, that don't have computers, and there's a problem there. And we need to, and then with that, if that version does pass, we need to make sure that when we write the rules and we get with the unelected bureaucrats, they realize they work for us. We don't work for them. And we got to get some guts and get some people in there that understand that process and make that as smooth as possible.
So it's some language there about who gets to stay on Medicaid and how often we're guaranteeing they should be on it. And if you all can get that language worked out, then those several 100,000 or a couple million that Tillis was upset about and complaining about on TV, saying that they would lose their Medicaid and Trump's promise would be broken, if you get that language worked out, that'll get all cleared up. Everything else should be okay then, as far as no one will lose Medicaid that deserves it.
That deserves it. And let's talk about the least amongst us. That's all we're trying to do, waste, abuse, and fraud. But you always have a bureaucrat in there that wants another job or another department, and we don't need to create a new department of authorization of Medicaid and Medicare. We just need to make sure we get it done right the first time.
There you go. Right. All right, Congressman Burchett, we know you got to get back to work. Thank you for coming on and adding some clarity to all this. Appreciate you.
Love you, brother. Thank you.
Love you. Take care. God bless.